What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about INFJ project comeback. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube doing this. I think it all started with Sarah's day, and today we're taking it from an INFJ perspective. It was a request of one of you to talk about what to do if you've actually been on the trip of creating your INFJ epic life. You felt like things were going in the right direction and then you fell off the wagon and you don't know how to start again, what happened, and how to continue. And to top it all off, I've seen that it's particularly challenging for INFJs because we consistently get the message from the media, the INFJ media, so to say, that we are not meant to be productive, that we are the dreamers, we are the observers, and that we barely get anything done. So it is a self-fulfilling prophecy if you look at it this way. So today I'm going to talk to you about how I approach project comeback, because trust me, I have these moments too. They happen much more rarely now, but they still happen. And the mindset around it is going to make the biggest shift for you. Before we get started, I want to remind you though to check out the INFJ Epic Life Masterclass. It is a final sale. There's only like 1 month left, I think. And we have a great value for you, so go check it out. The information is below in the description. Now is the perfect time. The last videos I've always been talking about let's get ready for 2021. And it's also a great time to reconsider this project comeback. Meaning, look at let's say the last 12 months. So many of you have probably made progress and you felt like things are finally moving around and things are going your way and you are making progress and reaching things that you never thought possible. You might even have felt this, what I always call the epic life, that you're excited to get up, you're excited to start that new chapter. And then out of the blue, something happened and you don't know how to find your way back. It is important for us, in particular as INFJs, to understand that this is something that will happen over and over again. Why do I say for us INFJs in particular? Because for us, mindset will be the most important thing to begin with. Maybe other types will continue with habits, will continue with doing certain things they have been doing just because they've gotten used to them. But for us, it is about how we feel at that moment. If it doesn't feel like this is going to change something, if we're not convinced that this is the right way to go, we're probably not going to do this. And so that's why I say we as INFJs have to look at it from a very particular point of view. And the most important thing is, as I said in the beginning, remember this is going to happen to you. This is not a question of it might happen to me, or maybe if it does, what do I do? It is a certainty. There's no way you will start your journey and you will not fall off, because particularly in the beginning, you are going in a certain direction. You feel like, okay, now I'm motivated, things are happening, but they're happening because there's nothing external that's kicking you out of your rhythm. And this external thing will happen. Some kind of argument, election maybe, the whole quarantine situation. So many things happen to us. And then we are kicked out of our balance. This will happen. So stop trying to avoid it. Stop thinking that there's something wrong with you. Why you are the only one who can't commit. Know that's going to happen and embrace it as such. And you'll see when you do this, you approach it from a completely different mindset. Because then it's not this typical INFJ thought of, I'm just made to sit around and I'm an observer and I'm a dreamer and things are just not happening to me because I don't have the willpower to put action behind it. That's not going to be the story you're going to tell yourself. You're going to tell yourself, great, this happened. It is another milestone because now I get to practice again getting back into rhythm. You know how they say it's easier to stay ready than to get ready? Well, that is true for everything. So once you're in this rhythm and everything's going great, it's much more likely to stay this way. You can just look at things like working out, which isn't necessarily the thing that we as INFJs are looking towards, right? It might be a little part of it, but we want that epic life. We want to feel like, okay, things are moving forward, I'm growing, I'm excited about the next step, and I'm becoming more of who I want to be. But this too is much easier once the machine is already going. So what do you do if you have fallen off? How do you get back up? It's in that moment that you have to remember that it's about taking action before you feel like it. But then, didn't I just say a while ago that we as INFJs need the mindset behind it? We do. And the mindset behind it is, I know why I'm doing this. I don't need to feel that excitement in my body right now to know that this is going to bring me excitement. And that in itself is already motivation enough. You have to look at it from a little bit of a numbed out place, meaning I will put those steps forward, knowing that it's going to take a while, knowing that it will take some energy out of me, but I will get back on track because I remember I was able to make that step before. See, in the beginning, when I started this journey, it was really hard for me and I probably fell off, 4 times a day. I was coming from a place of a really dark cloud in my life and things were really not looking in a way I wanted to. And then things pulled me up, like listening to motivational videos, listening to inspiring songs, and then taking the action of, okay, these are my goals and I'm moving towards them. We talked about in the last video how important it is to have goals. If you don't have goals, you will not make the jump into getting back on track. Because you don't know where to start. You don't know what actions to take. The thing that's going to get you excited, the thing that's going to change your mindset around it, is the fact that you're going to be able to control your emotional state and your thoughts. That is the thing that will make you want to go more into that direction. Because then you see again, okay, I'm keeping the promises I'm making to myself, and at the same time, I do have control over my destiny. I do have control over creating my INFJ Epic life. And that feeling, that is the catalyst to everything that will follow. So in the beginning, as I said, when I was living in that dark cloud, it was just the memory of how it worked last time. It was me thinking, okay, what got me out of this dark place yesterday? It was that song, it was that motivational video. That is the thing that got me back on track. Because if you continuously think about the negative things or have an emotional negative state, you need to just drop it and think of something else. See, this is something that we INFJs are so prone to that we think, I have to think it through. I have to get to a place where I completely allow all those emotions to go within me and then I can move on. There is some truth to it. You know, people who ignore everything and don't ever confront themselves with anything? That doesn't work either. But we very often go overboard, meaning we linger in those emotions over and over again, but nothing changes. At some point, if you have learned your lesson, if you have learned that from now on you're going to do something differently. So for example, you've decided, okay, I'm not going to focus on a person who continuously shows me that they don't value me. Once you've learned this lesson, although your emotions and although your thoughts might want to go in that direction, you have learned that this will not work. So it's totally okay for you to decide to go in the other direction and to think of something that will make your life better, right? If I tell you don't think about the pink elephant, what do you think about the pink elephant? What you have to do in order to stop thinking about the pink elephant is to think of the yellow banana. We actively have to go into another direction, knowing very well that of course your thoughts will go back to the pink elephant, of course. Don't expect anything else. Don't be harsh on yourself because that will keep you back. Because then if you start the process of, oh, why am I this way? You know, I'm an INFJ, or I'm even like one of those INFJs who are not even successful because I continuously just stay in this mindset. You are reminding yourself of this. But if you don't have worry thoughts that you can change at that moment, then it's totally okay to drop them. Like even if you were worried about not having enough money in the end of the month, are you able to do something about it in that particular minute or in that particular day? If the answer is no, then start thinking about something positive. Start thinking about how things are already working out, how you were able to pull yourself out, let's say 2 months ago. If you've been able to do it once, you can do it again. And through that process of falling off the wagon because of something external happening, you teach yourself to get back on track. And then it's like muscle memory. You remember how it felt. It's never like you starting from scratch. And that's the great part about it. And that's why I'm saying, if you continuously know that Project Comeback isn't something that you have to take on as this massive thing, then you'll be able to continuously do it over and over again. And for most of us, and that's how it was for me as well, in the beginning, it will be a bigger step. Because once you've fallen off, you don't get back up right away. right? Because you fall back into old patterns, you remember everything you used to do, your default state, right? This new way of thinking hasn't become concrete yet. The more often you do this, the less likely it will be that you fall off. So when I say in the beginning, I fell off a couple of times a day, I got back into my negative habit. At some point, I was able to have an entire day that I was in a positive state, and then it continued. And now I probably fall off 2 or 3 times a year. And then it really takes me a couple of days. And on top of that, I'm excited about this time because every single time I get to reevaluate, okay, what can I change about my situation? What have I been doing maybe as a default state that now that I have to make new decisions again, I have to start the process again, I'm able to eliminate. So every single time I do fall off, my project comeback is always better than it ever used to be, right? So it's always like failure, 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 failure. And in the end, we always continue to grow. So in a nutshell, the most important thing I want you to remember is that it will not feel great. Don't wait for you to feel like it ever, because it's not going to happen. Start with small steps in order to start that process again. So if I haven't been meditating for weeks, and I've had situations like this where I was just so overwhelmed with moving or having something happen in my life that I just dropped it and I forgot how great it was for me. To expect of yourself to start meditating every single day again and to have that strict schedule, that's just not realistic, and you're setting yourself up for failure. Start the small steps. This is also something which I teach my clients, which I teach my bootcamp participants, and that's also part of the Epic Life Masterclass, that we learn that it's about those small steps. Because it isn't about what those small steps will bring us. It's not about, I will achieve so much more if I meditate an hour every day and I start tomorrow. And it's not about the fact that, okay, I need to write that book, and if I write 15 pages every single day, I will achieve that much. It's not about that. Because first off, that's not real life. It's not going to happen like this. I've never met one person who's been able to be in a position where they haven't done anything to get to that place. People who do that have already the practice of getting back on track. And second of all, to understand that it's not our biggest goal to get the result of these actions. Our biggest goal is to get our mindset back into a position where we want to grow, where this happens automatically, where we feel like, okay, today I was able to meditate, and I was also able to do that 3 days ago. Wow, that means I did it twice this week, when before I haven't done it for months. Yeah, happy me, I did it again. That's the kind of attitude we want, because then you start teaching your mind again to get excited about being productive, getting excited about doing things that, catapult your life forward, and then you start taking on those new things. So look again, what are your goals? What are the things you haven't done for a long time? And they will feel like too much. It will feel like a lot of work to say, okay, so what? I need to work out again all the time, and I need to write my book. I don't even have the energy to sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. Well, then don't take on those big chunks of work. Start with the small steps. Start with little things and then add to them. Start with making your bed. Start with 5-minute meditations. Start with adding something to your lifestyle that makes it better. For example, like adding a smoothie in the morning, something that gives you energy. And then also to add those things like vocation. Where do you want to go with your relationships? What is your plan with your wealth management? And what step can you take today? It might be that you just get a book on how to apply to a certain job. Or it might be that you write a script for a podcast idea that you have. Whatever it is, it's those steps that will make the difference. Do not ever wait for your mind to change first, for you to feel like it, and don't be afraid of it. Don't feel like that's something that shows you again that you're a failure, that you're not meant to be doing this. This is part of the process. Everything else is not real. If it wasn't this way, you would be doing something wrong. The point is to reframe it and to say, great, this is another opportunity for me to learn how to get back on track. The better I get at this process, the less likely I will fall off. Because yes, external things will happen, but it's 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. And if you are in practice of doing this project comeback as an INFJ over and over again, you make those shifts immediately. It's not something that you have to do after you've fallen off the wagon for weeks. It's something that you do on a daily basis. When you have some negative thoughts, you catch yourself and you get back on track. That's how easy it can be at some point. But it's not going to happen if you're not willing to look at yourself and say, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Because I fell off, I have another chance to learn how to get back on the wagon, right? How to get back on my project comeback. You got this. And now that we're starting 2021, it's a perfect time, use the last couple of days that we have in this year to detox yourself. We had videos on this, to set goals for the new year, and most importantly, set those healthy habits that will help you in the beginning. So remember, if you want to take the next step, check out the INFJ Epic Life Masterclass. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video how INFJs win in 2021, because there we talk about those basic habits that need to be in place in order to make those big jumps in your life. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time. Bye.